in here and
Good morning. The meeting of the Sky Valley City Council will come to order. Just resume. All right, thank you. Good to see you all on this chilly morning. Thank you for being here. Would the city clerk please call the roll?
I'm sorry.
Call the roll, thank you.
I've never called the roll. You all right? This is a council member.
Yes.
Okay.
For the record.
Councilor Pence,
Yes.
Mayor Buttonor,
Yes.
Councilor Price.
Here.
Just hit me off guard. And Councilor Beasley
Yes.
and Councilor Curtis.
Right here.
Oh, and Councilor Allred.
Thank you. And the quorum is present. I would ask that our council president, Beth Pence, deliver the invocation today. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. Lord, grant wisdom and discernment to our leaders as they navigate complex decisions for our city, and may they work in harmony, seeking justice, welfare of all people. We thank you, Lord. Amen.
Amen. Stand for the pledge. The flag is of course next to the TV screen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have the minutes of several meetings in the past to approve, and I'm going to try to get closer to the microphone. We have the minutes of several meetings to approve, and I would like to ask our city attorney how we proceed with that, since these were actually minutes of the past city council.
Yeah. So it looks like on the agenda, you have several meeting minutes from November. It looks like November 7th, council work session, November 10th, public hearing number 1, November 10th, public hearing number 2, November 18th, public hearing number 3, and then November 18th, which is a regular council meeting. Obviously all from the previous council. Then you also have a January 6th, the organizational and special call to council meeting, which y'all were a part of. The minutes were produced, provided ahead of time. As far as the November minutes, I guess Councilmember Curtis and Councilmember Allred, if y'all saw anything in there that obviously needed to be changed or anything like that, you can break that up. Otherwise, there were the minutes as transcribed by the city clerk. I think the current council can rely on those minutes to vote to approve them, just so that they're official and that they can be posted, unless either Tony or Jim see something that needs to be changed on.
Madam Mayor, I've been over each of the minutes. They look fine to me. I move that we approve them.
Thank you.
I'll second. I have no objections to it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
So those will be for the November minutes. January 6th minutes, y'all were all a part of that, so
Yes.
y'all can take part. If there's anything any of y'all need to change, we can discuss that. If not, you can vote to approve it.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of January?
So moved.
I'll second.
And I'm trying to remember to mention the names of folks who make motions in seconds, so please bear with me. And that was seconded by Council President Beth Pence. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion passes to approve minutes, all the minutes. Do I have a motion to adopt today's agenda?
And then I think y'all had mentioned earlier that I think at least Mr. Curtis had something he wanted to add to the agenda. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
So at this point, if you wanted to amend the agenda or adopt the agenda, Mr. Curtis, you can make that motion as to what you want to add.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to amend the agenda to include two important items of old business. The first is the future of the marketing committee, specifically its funding. And we can discuss that in a moment. And the second is how we're going to proceed regarding the $5 million grant that we have to install a sewer system. And I think that deserves some discussion. The last report that was done had some ambiguity as to the source of the reading, the pollution readings that needs to be clarified before we can move forward. So I move we add the marketing committee and the sewer issue to the agenda. And in addition, we may want to add the approval of the resolutions regarding the committees, and that should probably be the first order of business.
Yes.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? The motion passes.
And just to clarify, I guess we're gonna add the marketing committee and the sewer grant. And I guess they will go under new business as, I guess, 11 and 12.
That's fine.
Okay. And then I guess from there, we'll have a motion to adopt the two items added at the end of which I've already previously been given. That motion to,
Do we have, a
Did we just adopt that?
I thought, well, yeah, I guess.
Okay.
You did, okay.
11, 12, and 13, that would be, I'm guessing with the resolutions for the committees.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Item number 5 on the agenda is the mayoral and council. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Public Works and city staff for everything you all did over the past weekend to keep us safe, as well as the public safety staff, of course. Thank you all for being out there and making sure that the city of Sky Valley could handle the ice and the snow on the roads, and I'm sure we'll be hearing more about that and what is coming up this coming weekend. So if there is anybody among the city council who would like to add some comments, now is your opportunity.
Thank you. Good morning, neighbors. I want to sincerely thank all of you that have taken the time to call, email, and have met with me over the last 2 weeks. Your feedback, your suggestions, encouragement, ideas, and opinions matter. They were very helpful. They were very necessary. They are very productive. But as you know, not all individuals want unity. There are those sad few that spew hate, make personal attacks, foster division, and seek attention. A short stroll on our Sky Valley Facebook group will quickly show you who those destructive individuals are. I challenge all of you to consider what the real motivation is for this kind of behavior. It is not free speech, it is hate speech. It does not offer solution, it is personal attacks. It is not suggestions, it is insults. And to what end exactly? There is nothing about these tantrums that nourish Sky Valley. They are sad, ugly, and a waste of energy. For those of us who really love Sky Valley and want it to thrive, we will continue to use your voices for productive, respectful commentary. Please share your ideas. Please voice your opinions. Please contribute your suggestions. Please impart your expertise. There is much to discuss and much work to do, and we need you. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who wishes to make a statement? Comment? No. Thank you. Next, we will ask Jason Streetman to give us the city manager report.
Madam Mayor, Council, those in attendance, good morning, everybody, those on Zoom. Since we did not have a December meeting, and since this is our first regular council meeting, I want to hope everybody's had a great 2026 so far and had a wonderful holiday season. As we are now in fiscal year 2026, the 2025 property taxes are starting to come in. And at present, we have received approximately 667,000, of what should total amount to be a little over 1.1 million. So about 60% has been received. And the deadline for property taxes is February 2nd. So there's still time. And typically, we do see a robust coming in towards the end, but so far we're pretty pleased with what we're receiving. As we close out fiscal year 25, we're still seeing and paying some bills that always seem to straggle in from December. And also there's a little bit of revenue that should be coming in. And by next month, we should be able to give you all a final number, how we finished fiscal year 25. But those numbers are still coming in. Since our last meeting, we have successfully renewed our Firewise designation as well as our Tree City designation. And we will be doing a tree planting in April as part of the Arbor Day. So that will be coming down soon. Back in November of 24, the SPLOST, the Special Purpose Tax, that referendum was approved to continue the SPLOST. Those funds have just now started coming in. We received our first installment this month. It was $2,763.04. I anticipate those disbursements to come up a little bit once it starts really coming in. Probably somewhere between that $6,000 to $10,000 per month. That's a 5-year SPLOST, and which the city will receive, I think, $595,000. T-SPLOST. Since the pending transportation tax was renewed back in this past November election, those collections will resume in April of this year. There's a little bit of lag and carryover time. And so the first installment that we should see will be around June, according to the county. In the past, those funds have averaged around $50,000 to $60,000 a month, and we anticipate that to pick up. And we will be bringing you all a proposed resurfacing plan, I think, in the March planning retreat to talk about the prioritized projects. So you'll be seeing that before long. I have myself here. Winter weather is coming. If anybody can see the weather, I'm gonna let the public works guys talk about that. Again, I wanna echo Mayor Cottonor. Thank you guys. I know we had a lot of conversations Friday night, Saturday. Jerry reached out to me Saturday and said that they had treated some of the hot spots with ice conditions. In fact, we've already met once today to start planning. Again, I'm gonna reserve that time for those guys on that to talk about the winter weather. We're going to be adding blinds here to City Hall. Those that have been here during daytime. I think it's going to add some beauty to the City Hall, but the glare can be pretty tough, particularly for the elected officials. So I think next meeting that should be a pleasant change that you'll see here. And then finally, I didn't have the opportunity to do this at the last meeting swearing in, but I want to acknowledge council members Allred and Curtis for their continued service, and also recognize our newly sworn in elected officials, Mayor Cottonor, council members Beasley, Pence, and Price. So thank you so much. And that's all I really have. Being the first year, we're kind of getting into the groove, but we'll definitely have a lot to talk about as we get more into the year. So I'm going to stop there. I don't want to take anything away from our other guys, but at this time, I'm gonna call Jerry Show to get up and talk about road, water and things, water issues. Use this microphone.
Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Just want to say thank you to each and everybody the patience that you give us, and, just bear with us. We are planning for this ice storm, snowstorm if we get it this weekend. We already have Brian made. We're going through the equipment, making sure everything's still ready to go and be sitting on ready for that. And, I have talked with Daniela from the timeshares, and she has a couple of units for us to stay in if need be. The city is gonna continue working on the ditches, the leaf removals, and prioritizing some roads for in the spring. We have some culvert issues going on right now. They need some serious attention, and some of it can be done in-house, and some of it looks to be like we're gonna have to hire it out. We have started cleaning and washing and straightening up a lot of the signs throughout the city. That was back several weeks ago when it had warmed up a little bit. But, I just want to thank everybody for the patience and, time y'all putting in to help us out. Thank you.
Good morning. I'd like to start off by saying that we, at the water department, didn't have any violations, EPD violations in 2025. It's a group effort. It takes every crew member we got to reach that goal. The next thing I'd like to talk about is we have sanitary surveys coming up, probably about mid-year. What that means is EPD will come in and sort of go through all of our paperwork. They will take a tour of all of our tank sites, well sites. They come and do a pretty good sweep through of everything that we do and make sure that we have no deficiencies or any kind of violations. So we'll be preparing for that. And the next thing would be we will be starting to acquire some quotes for tank cleanings. The tank cleanings have to be done every 5 years, and that's per EPD standards. Last time we had them cleaned, we didn't have any problems. Just a little bit of silt in the bottom, which is, that's normal. So that'll probably be about mid-year to get that complete. Let's see. We completed some lead and copper samples about mid-December. Proud to say that all the samples that were collected come back with no exceedance. I have the paperwork to hand deliver back to the people that we sampled from their house. Let's see. A new sample that we're going to have to start doing for EPD is called PFAS, and that stands for polyfluoroalkyl. I hope I'm saying that right. Substances, and pretty much what that is in the late 1950s, manufacturers started using a chemical that is very hard to get rid of. They call it the forever chemical. It's mainly used for packaging on food containers, cookware, making clothes, carpets. Of course, we don't have a whole lot of manufacturers around here, so not real worried about the samples coming back bad there. This will be a biannual sample. Actually, me and Dustin just done them. When was that? Last week, and hand delivered them back to Atlanta EPD. So we're awaiting sample results from that. Yes.
You might want to mention that the system, the Sky Valley system itself does not have lead and stuff in the system.
Okay, yeah, I can speak on that in just a second. Let me finish up right here. We will also continue to rebuild pressure reducing pits throughout the city. I'm sure you've been following over the last year. We've really took a stand on trying to rebuild those and replace faulty parts. That gives us some protection from the pressure from the mountains, you know, the up and down elevations. That gives us control of water pressure into people's meters. So we're going to be very proactive, you know, continuing to jot down, make notes of where we've been and what pressure should be and what, you know, what they need to be. The next thing I got is freezing water lines. Of course, everybody knows it's going to be cold and going to be cold for the next, you know, couple months. If you leave for more than 24, 48 hours from your house, I would suggest turning your water off outside at the homeowner valve. If that's a task you cannot handle yourself, just feel free to call the city and we'll be glad to come help do that. Let's see. If you have any bathrooms or sinks that are on exterior walls, leave your cabinet doors open underneath. That'll help get some heat in there. Another thing I got here is Dustin Hensley. He's been an employee with us for 7 years now. And he went to water school and obtained his Class 3 drinking water operator license. Not an easy task. I think the last time that I looked, the pass rate was about 10 to 20%. Congratulations to Dustin. He's going to be learning some more on the system. With that being said, continued education. Me and him both will be doing some continued education throughout the year. It's required to do so to be able to keep our license. So. And for what Jerry's talking about, we have to do an annual lead and copper sample. And what that means is we have to pick 20 sites throughout the city and collect lead and copper samples. We had an exceedance early last year, and that kicked us into a different bracket where we have to do a few more samples per year, which is no big deal. But when that exceedance was discovered, we got in touch with Georgia Rural Water Association, and they come up and we done a full sweep of our system, every entry point, every sample site that we could collect from, and done a lead and copper sample. Those results come back as we had very, very small amounts of copper and very small amounts of lead in our water. The lead and copper usually comes from household plumbing, and that's where we got our exceedance from. So I would just like to reiterate that we don't have any lead or copper in our water. It's very, very little out in the drinking water, out in the system. Now, as far as houses, that's what these lead and copper samples are for. We have an obligation to go try to find it. And once we find it, we, let the homeowner know, hey, here's what your sample come back as. Is it dangerous? Is it not? We give them, suggestions on how to fix it, and a lot of times it's, you need to get a plumber. You need to upgrade your plumbing. And I believe that's all I've got. Thank you.
Well, Mayor, before I call up Jim Piper, I just want to quickly add on where I was Jerry was talking about, we're closely watching the weather. We'll know more tomorrow than we do today, we'll know more Thursday than we do, et cetera, et cetera. Looks like, sometime Saturday, we've got some, cold air coming in with some precipitation. The models are all over the place, anywhere from a few inches of snow to some ice to maybe 1.5 feet of snow, we don't know. We will start, we're already mobilizing, we will start treating the roads once we know more. We typically, will take that approach, get the ground out, and, we'll start plowing. And once we usually need a couple of inches of snow on the ground to really, on the roads to really make it effective to plow. Just want to remind folks, please, if you can, stay off the roads. We don't plow the roads so people can get to the grocery store. We plow the roads for emergency vehicles, et cetera, et cetera. And, also, please keep your vehicles out of the right of way, because we're having to drive around or dodge vehicles. It really hinders our performance. Sometimes we haven't had a bad storm. I think the last storm we had of any significance was January of 22, so it's been about 4 years ago. I was here then. I think we plowed snow for 30 hours straight, guys.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it's, if you see the guys out, and unfortunately, Mother Nature doesn't always wait till, 9 o'clock on a Monday. It looks like it's coming in on weekends. So, these guys will be coming in during off hours, but they always have a great attitude. I just want to commend them, and I expect no less. And, we'll get it done, as they say. All right, Jim Podron, I'm gonna say Jim Podron. Sorry about that, Jim. You'll come forward and give your report, and then, we'll have, fire chief.
Thank you, Jason. Mayor, council, residents, good morning. My report's pretty brief. This time of year, usually the way it is, things slow down a little bit. Most of everything that's going on is done on the interior, except when we have the occasional nice day, which we have had. I want to preempt my report by just reminding people, and it's going to be my little blurb in the Sky Valley Times, which should be coming out next week, Sharon. Okay. Was about trash pickup, and I wanted to mention that now since yesterday was a holiday. Just a reminder that on holidays, obviously, the trash isn't picked up, and it's always picked up, weather permitting, the day after, the next business day after. So even though this will be in my Sky Valley Times update, Sharon also and Karen also sent out MailChimp to all the people that are on that list. So just a reminder to remember that. And it goes into details as far as when to put it out, when to bring their cans back in, et cetera, et cetera. I won't go into that detail right now. In December, 2 citations were paid for violations. Permit number 558 for 248 Bayberry had some tree debris that was there for a substantial amount of time. The contractor only paid $500. So we went to the owner, who was ultimately responsible, and the owner paid an additional $1,000. So we collected $1,500 on that particular incident. Permit number 456 at 88 Wildbird, same situation, non-removal of tree debris, the cuttings. And she paid $6,280. So, I mean, the violations, in this case, it was $100 a day. So just be aware of that. I mean, it's, these ordinances, they do have teeth, and we're trying to enforce them as much as we can. Construction's continuing on 3 new builds right now. 1160 Knob Drive, Jim Shosh, and he's drywall. I mean, it's he's getting ready to put the insulation in this week. That's moving right along. There was a lag time about a year ago. It's I won't go into all the details on that, but it's moving forward very quickly now. Lot 126 on Upper Ridgepole, just before you get to White Oak Ridge at the gate. The foundation's been poured, and now they're putting up the walls. That's going to be I believe a 3,500 square foot house. And then 237, lot number 237 at Covered Bridge, which is at the intersection of Covered Bridge and Ridgepole. Same thing, they poured, excuse me, the foundation a week ago, and they're starting to put up the walls. Septic, it's all been dug out. That's moving along. And then we have 2 that are pending. One on Saddleback Circle, and the owner's telling me that he's still working on his financing. So I'm not sure exactly when he's gonna bring in the paperwork for that. But, and then there's one on Evergreen, which I should be getting the paperwork on that hopefully in the next couple of weeks. And it's gonna be similar, I mentioned this, I believe at the last meeting, similar to the house up at 615 West Sugar Bush. And very contemporary looking, but fits into the mountain motif, stone, wood, glass. So and it was a really nice home, and this is gonna be identical. Just for some statistics, in November of 2025, 10 building permits and 11 tree permits were issued. Compare that to November of 24, 11 permits and 2 tree permits. So we're up a little bit. In December of 2025, 7 building permits and 3 permits for trees. And coincidentally, identical to December of 2024. 7 building permits and 3 permits, tree permits. 246 total permits were issued in 2025, compared to 271 in 2024. So we're about 25 under last year. But again, it averages out about 20 to 25 permits a month. Any questions?
The tree permit, or is that, are we still allowing for choppings of trees?
Yes.
Ms. McNaughton, please stand up and address the chair, thank you.
Okay, are we still allowing for the chopping of trees? It's just, in my opinion, an inevitable tree death.
It depends on the circumstances. We highly discourage it. But depending upon who the contractor is, it could be an arborist that's also a contractor, or you've had an arborist input. Depending upon the species of tree, it just depends, because we've had so many trees that were topped. They may look great first few years, but eventually they're either gonna die, they're gonna become diseased, or they're just gonna grow disproportionately to the way that they should be. So, I don't know if that answers your question.
It does, thank you.
Please identify yourself. Thank you.
Cindy Waitowski, 66 Pleasant Home. A question about a project that we had done in our house in 2015. And I wanted to know if this policy or permitting still occurs. It was to replace an existing cross-tie wall. And we were required by the city to gather information and pay a civil engineer to design the project, which costs $900 for this. And in addition to the project itself, is that still in existence?
So if I understand it, it was a retaining wall?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, any retaining wall 4 feet or over has to be engineered.
Okay.
Now, if you're just replacing it, depending upon how long ago it was constructed, you might be able to use some of the plans for the original one. But anything over 4 feet, yes, you do have to have an engineer, and there is a permit for that.
Okay, and the same kind of policy holds true for the city as well, that they would have to adhere to these restrictions or
Can you
guidelines.
be more specific?
There is a project that is in the works for a replacement of a culvert. And I know that that's not the same thing as a retaining wall, but it would seem to me that if a retaining wall replacement of this
Who goes there?
needs to have a civil engineer, I would think that a civil engineer design would be required for
I
this.
believe we're going to be talking about culvert replacement in a few moments. Is that correct? It's on the agenda. So
That will be addressed.
yes, that's not really something that I'm involved in other than the permitting process.
Okay, thank you.
Chair. Michelle Herschel. Jim, is there a charge to take dead trees? Do you need a permit
Yes.
to take out dead trees?
Yeah, in the last 2
If there
years.
is, why? Is there a fee?
You'll have to ask the council that, but they put that in the ordinance, I believe, either a year or 2 years ago at the most. I know it wasn't before. Excuse me. It's a $25 fee and, excuse me. Sorry about that. basically, I still have to go out and inspect and see what it is you're cutting down. Sorry, I let my water in my chair. Otherwise, you're gonna have perhaps a neighbor call, or, you know, some of our officers may drive by and see somebody cutting a tree and not know the circumstances, whether it was dead or what. So, I mean, there is some time involved, and $25 is a nominal fee, I think you would think, for approval.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you.
Good morning. Well, it's hard to believe it's been a year next month that I was promoted to chief. And I feel like in that time, we've accomplished quite a bit, and we still have a whole lot more things to get done. One of the things is we remain real focused on our training. Myself and Sergeant Maloney have both completed the requirements to get our police officer advanced certification.
Chief Holmes, I'm sorry, could you speak up a little and into the microphone? Some of the folks can't hear you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Sergeant Maloney and myself have both completed the requirements of post to get our advanced certifications. Lieutenant Edwards has got his intermediate, working on his advanced, and everybody else on the team is also working towards getting their advanced certification. Our traffic enforcement has been paying off. The numbers show it. We had 21 less accidents this year compared to last. And we actually issued 117 more citations this year than last year. Right at 2,000 more resident checks were completed this year than last. Right at 5,500 more business checks have been completed than last year, and we've patrolled right at 5,000 more miles this year than last. Something else I wanted to talk about is the police department will be participating in the National Nights Out in, I believe it's August 4th. It's a family-friendly event, possibly a cookout. It gives the community a chance to connect with us and see what we do and how we do it. We're still working on the details yet, but we're hoping it will be a memorable event. It's something that's done across the whole United States with law enforcement, fire departments, any kind of first responders. And again, with the weather, we'll have an extra officer on duty. It's a lot for one officer to try to keep up with cars sliding all off the road out here in the resort. Please do stay off the road unless it's an emergency. And if by chance our power does go out, and cell phones start dying and there's no way to get information, if you could call the 1026 number, the 408-1026, we'll try to get to you, and we can charge the phone up while we're driving around. And right now I'd like to ask Officer Clark to come up here, please. Okay. I'm just going to read what we've got. A recent review of your activity readily confirms how worthy you are of special recognition. This commendation acknowledges your exceptional performance during a traffic enforcement stop on January 14th. While conducting the stop for a speeding violation, Officer Clark observed the driver appeared noticeably nervous. Her professional, keen observation led to the discovery that the individual had warrants for his arrest. Upon taking the suspect in custody, Officer Clark successfully located methamphetamine and drug paraphernalia on his person, as well as 2 loaded firearms in the vehicle. The citizens of Sky Valley and the Sky Valley Police Department are grateful for your diligence and commitment to public safety. It's a privilege to serve alongside you, and we appreciate your continued dedication and outstanding public service to the department and the city of Sky Valley.
Morning, y'all. Most of you know me. Ken Sigler, I'm the chief of the Sky Valley Escort Fire Department. About a year of tough act to follow. I'll tell you that. This is the first that the fire department's actually been asked to come up and meet and greet with y'all. And I appreciate the offer. Unfortunately, I don't always have a whole lot to talk about, but we just finished up all our numbers from last year, the fire department. Most of you probably don't realize we have a very odd fire department. We are one of only 4 in the entire country that serve both North Carolina and Georgia. Out of 19,000 fire departments, you got one of 4 that do this. And our paperwork is a nightmare, and our run reporting is a nightmare, and it's just, it's a mess, but my administrative assistant up there, Kay Sherburne, most of you have met her and know her. She does a real good job of keeping the department straight, keeping me under control and everything else. But we compiled some numbers. Fire department responded to 193 calls for emergency service last year. About 70 of them were in Sky Valley proper. Of those 70, about 95% were medical calls. And you can understand, EMS is a big part of what we respond to. The rest were either in outlying Georgia or North Carolina. And that was a whole lot busier than the year before. In 2024, we responded to about 125 calls. So we were a lot busier. And I don't know where Ron's hiding all the traffic accidents. We've been getting tore up. Most of them have been up in North Carolina, and most of those, of course, been on 106 and that area. And I don't understand why people to this day try to straighten out all the curves we have. The majority of our wrecks and everything. And on that note, from me to y'all, whoever might be listening, and the hidden microphones and everything else in here, when you come up on an accident where we're out on the road, traffic fatalities for the country are on the decline. However, due to our response, line of duty deaths for firefighters, injuries and everything else are on the increase. And most of that is due to firefighter being stationary and being impacted by another vehicle. If you come up on one of our incidents out on the road, we do offer assistance not only to law enforcement, but to the tow truck drivers and everybody else that comes out to these things. We do traffic control. It is now the most dangerous thing that we do. Going into burning buildings, you know, that was last year. That was the last decade. You know, it's always a tragedy when one of us loses our lives or ended up crippled or taken out of service for the rest of their career or their lives or whatever. But these are the things that are completely preventable. Okay, most of it's due to distracted driving. We're on the phones, taking pictures, texting, or the fact that we have red lights, no blue lights. And it's one of the reasons that we like having law enforcement on the call, was most of the time, sooner or later they get there. People have a lot more respect for the blue lights than the red lights. Unfortunately, with people with red lights are out in the road doing their job. Just slow down. I know it's an inconvenience. Everybody wants to be from point A to point B as soon as possible. It's the American way. Okay, you'd be amazed. You come out and stand with us while we're doing traffic. How many brain surgeons there are that have to get to Atlanta to save Timmy, okay? Or conversely, have to get to Highlands because they have dinner reservations. Really no reason to slow down or to obey us or anything like that. It's extremely hazardous what we do out there. All I'm asking is just slow down. There's no need to go screaming by us. You're not gonna save any time. And generally, if we can catch you, we're gonna. If there's a trooper there, no, we're gonna catch you. We're gonna give you a heck of a ticket too. That's the good side. The bad side is one of us gets clipped and killed. Okay, so if you get a ticket, tough darts. Okay, I'm good with that. Okay, if one of us gets hurt, okay, that's a totally different story. Again, that's for me to y'all. This is a two-way conversation, so, like I said, this is the first fire department's, and I do thank you very much for allowing us to come up here. I'm not always gonna have some big flowery thing up here and waste everybody's time and everything, but, it's a neat group thing too. Another thing, okay, and then I get to y'all. When you see us going to calls and everything, when you see us going back in service, don't wait 15 seconds and then call me to see what's going on. Okay, I'm not gonna tell you. Right? No offense, none of your business. All right? Somebody's having a very bad day. Most of them, when we go out there, having the worst day of their life. None of your concern what it is. I don't mean to downtrod anybody, but just about every call I go to, sooner or later, somebody's gonna call and wanna know what's going on. Who got hurt? Who's dead? Who's still alive? What did you do? Where did you go? Sorry, you wanna know? Join the fire department. We know everything.
Just can't tell.
Yeah, I mean, if, you know, that's what it takes to recruit more firefighters. I'm all for it, you know. We have 24 active firefighters right now. We did have 26. We had to let a couple go for administrative items. We're here to answer the calls. And if anybody is interested, anybody knows anybody that's interested in joining the fire service, give us a call. We're more than happy to entertain, show you what we've got, and it goes for everybody. Anybody in here, the city council, the new council people, they came up to the fire station, gave them a tour, showed them everything that's going on up there, what we have to offer. And that's for everything. You guys are paying for it, okay? You all pay for our toys to play with. And I have no problem showing you where your money's being spent. Paul Wheeler and I just got done doing this year's budget, and we're in pretty good shape this year. On February 5th, we will have an open evening. I think it's a Thursday evening in a couple of weeks for the public to come up and look at our budget. And while you're up there, if you want to look at the budget, that's great. If you want to look at all the toys and everything that you have paid for over the years, that's good too. It is a public service, okay? You're the public, we serve you. Come on up and take a look at what we got. I think you'd be very impressed. We try to keep our head down and run in the center of the pack as much as possible. I've always said that a good firefighter is one that nobody really knows is there and what they're doing until they need them. When you call 911, it's like we just fall out of the sky, okay? We appear from everywhere. We're all volunteers. We're scattered out all over the whole district. I was asked, okay, you guys all gonna, go to the fire station for the weather and all the rest of that? Nope. We're gonna stay at home. Because I got 24 people spread out all over everything. If I put them all in one fire station, we can get out of the station. You guys are in a lot of hurt. So, no, we don't huddle up at the station. That's where we keep our toys, most of our toys. Our EMRs are very well supplied. We carry just about everything that you'll see in the back of an ambulance. We carry in our personal vehicles. So when we show up, a lot of times, especially on a medical call, not gonna be a fire truck coming. We're gonna have 3 or 4 personal vehicles show up in the front yard. We're all well equipped, ready to go to work. That's on that note. I think I've taken up enough of everybody's time on this one, but does anybody have any questions for me? Yes, ma'am.
Not a question, Kim, just a praise.
Who are you and where do you live?
Terry Allred. I've been at two occurrences where you had to come. And you did a great job.
Well, I'm glad of that.
Your people do a fine job.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Good. Y'all have a good day. Be safe this weekend.
Thank you. Committee reports, do we have any committee reports? This being the new year.
Madam Mayor President, I don't believe we do. No, I don't see anybody here that wants to come forward, but, so at this time, I think we would do the segue to the new business.
Right, thank you, Jason, and thank you, everybody, for your reports. We're in such great hands, and I'm so proud to be a part of this city, and I look forward, Chief Ziegler, to using that fabulous facility that you have up the road that we paid for, so thank you. At this stage with the new business, I would like to yield the chair to our council president, Beth Pence, as I come up to the podium and talk about my committees, if you'll bear with me. Thank you. I'm not usually the type to write down all my remarks, I will tell you that much, but I want to make sure that I cover everything and I don't want to miss anything and be misinterpreted in any way, so I hope you'll bear with me. Thank you. I want to start by thanking the council for the time you've spent on this and on the thoughtful conversations we've had about the advisory committees. I truly appreciate the care and attention that each of you has brought to this process. What I'm asking this morning is fairly straightforward. I'm asking the council to approve the resolutions that establish the advisory committees and describe the role of each committee, and how what they will do in supporting the work of the council and the city. Also asking that you approve the members of those committees that are fully formed and ready to get started, while giving me a little more time to finish filling the remaining seats on the other committees. There are still a few openings, and over the next several weeks, I plan to reach out to the community to invite additional volunteers and issue experts to serve. My goal is to make sure these committees reflect a range of perspectives and that people who want to help have a real opportunity to do so. Once that outreach is complete, I'll bring the remaining appointments back to the council for approval. This approach lets us move forward where we're ready without rushing the parts that deserve more care and inclusion. So just to give you a snapshot of where things stand, the Public Works and Facilities Advisory Committee will be chaired by Council Member Jesse Price, with Council Member Jim Curtis serving as the second council representative. Lovett Bennett has already agreed to serve as a citizen member, and I'm continuing to look for 2 more citizen members to complete that committee. The Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness Advisory Committee needs 1 more member to complete. I had hoped that we would have somebody who I tried really hard to persuade, but he says his time has come and gone, and so I am looking for 1 more person on the Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness Advisory Committee. The Community Connections Advisory Committee still has several openings, and now that Council Member Carrie Sue Beasley has decided not to step into the chair role, I'll also be looking for another chair. And this committee matters a great deal to me because strengthening community connection and inclusiveness was a key promise that I made during my campaign. So 2 committees, however, are fully in place and ready to begin. The City of Sky Valley Advisory Committee includes Rudy Marcy, Kelsey Price, and W. Nelson Lewis Jr. as citizen members, with Council Member Beth Pence serving as chair and Council Member Tony Allred as the second council representative. The Finance and Administration Advisory Committee is also complete, with citizen members Steve Mason, Sr., Michelle Herschel, and Jim Phelps, and with Council Member Beth Pence serving as chair and Council Member Jim Curtis as the second council representative. With all of that in mind, I'm asking the council to approve the committee resolutions and to approve the members of the City of Sky Valley Advisory Committee and the Finance and Administration Advisory Committee, and to table action on the remaining committee appointments until I return with complete slates, and to approve sunsetting the Mayoral Advisory Committee. And that is not because there is anything wrong with the Mayoral Advisory Committee. I want to be clear that this is no reflection on the work that committee has done, and I'm sincerely grateful to those members for their service. Going forward, the City of Sky Valley Advisory Committee will serve as the primary citizen advisory body to the entire council. Finally, I plan to bring the Landscaping Advisory Committee, the Planning and Zoning Committee, the Special Projects Committee, and Marketing Committee before the council for consideration at our next meeting. And one of the reasons that I'm holding action on that is I understand that there are several members of the Marketing Committee who would like to make comments in the public comment section today. And as a further note, I am going to ask the council going forward if we could actually put public comment before we take action as opposed to at the end of action when all votes have been taken. I think that would be a valuable move for the city council to hear from folks before that. I want to thank you for your time and your service and your willingness to work through this together. I want to thank the members who have agreed to participate in the incomplete committees. And I hope moving forward that we can vote on the resolutions. And I will remind you that the committees were voted on last month, 2 weeks ago at the January 6th meeting. The resolutions were held so that the public could take a look at it, and so that the city attorney could make an adjustment as to how we define part-time residents, the residency of each advisory committee. Thank you, Madam President. I now resume the chair. And this is an odd thing for me to do because with the agenda, and I will call on the city attorney for this. I have that we would consider the various mayoral committee members, but I think we also need to, we have the resolution as number 13 on the agenda. Do you have a recommendation, and what is the council's will on this?
My understanding is that you wish for the council to approve those resolutions and then have a separate vote to approve the proposed members.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any objections to following that procedure?
No.
I don't think so. Yeah, so you can go ahead and take it up with this line item. So we'll go with the resolutions first. And then if those are adopted, then we can put forward your slate of proposed nominees.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the resolutions as they are presented in your agenda packet?
I move that we adopt, now, I want some clarification on this too. I move that we adopt the Finance and Administration Advisory Committee resolution and the City of Sky Valley Advisory Committee resolution.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Yes.
Any discussion?
I have discussion. I feel like you said the advisory committee was for the whole council, but we can't attend those meetings in person or via Zoom. And we didn't pick any of those committee members, and the public didn't get to volunteer for those. So I do not feel like that is in my best interest as advisory committee. I don't support the committee structure The Emergency Preparedness Committee is the only one that I'm in favor of. I feel like there's too much redundancy. I feel like I've said this before, that they are bloated. There's too much burden on the staff. There's too much legislation in having just discussions. I did withdraw my name from the Community Connections Committee. You were unsuccessful in filling it. We never opened it to the public to let them volunteer. That should be a sign that that is not the path that we should be taking. So I stand in opposition of all of the committees except for the emergency prepared one.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
One other comment, I think that it is well within the scope of your responsibility to form staff committees. And if you want to change them, I think it's an executive decision and we should support.
Any further discussion?
As you know, over the weekend, there's been a bit of email discussion about this, and one of the key things was that for a small city, it seems to be a lot of committees with a lot of volunteers and a lot of support from the city. I share that concern, but I also think that as the new mayor, you deserve some leeway in order to improve our city. And so certainly for the two committees that are ready to go right now, I'm planning on voting in favor of those.
Any further discussion? All right. I'm sorry.
In response to the concern about the community, what's the name of that, the community advisory, I thought long and hard about the burden that is placed with all of the people being requested, citizens and staff, et cetera. And I was thinking, in some cases, because we are a small, very small city, and we don't have a plethora of people to volunteer for all this, could it be something, or could you address something like each issue that comes up? And I'm thinking of the lodge. That was something that came up during your campaign. Could you have, instead of a committee, have a citizen action group assemble for that project, get it done or not, and then move on to something else? Instead of having a year-long commitment, have, here's an issue, here's a project. Get it, do it, done. Just a suggestion, and hopefully it makes sense.
I appreciate you, Marianne, but thank you, Susie. All right. The motion is on the floor to approve the resolutions for the two committees that are fully staffed at the moment. Do I'd like to take a vote, I'm sorry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Opposed.
The motion passes 4-1. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the consideration of approval of various quotes from local contractors to replace 2 culverts on Sky Valley Way. And Jason, would you like to take this?
Not much of a history about this, and I'm going to bring up Jared Show and Cody who have been involved with this, but every year the state of Georgia Department of Transportation allocates a certain amount of money, actually millions of dollars to cities and counties. It's called an LMIG, Local Maintenance Improvement Grant. And they base on what each city and county gets. One of the criteria is the amount of road miles that is maintained as well as others. And every year, we maintain about 31 miles of road. So therefore, they determine a certain amount of money that we will receive. We apply for that funding every year. LMIG has been used, it's separate from T-Splosh. The T-Splosh is the penny tax that's for that. But they do go hand in hand in some instances. For example, in the past few years, LMIG has gone towards the Morley Bridge. It's gone towards the culverts that were replaced there in the curve between the old lodge and the chapel. The in-ground cans that were removed a couple years ago, that was an LMIG project, as well as replacing stop signs and poles, et cetera, et cetera. Every year you have to identify a project. The DOT is, they have a pretty broad array of things that are eligible. As we've been using the T-Splosh for resurfacing, primarily culvert projects have been something that's been successful with this LMIG funding. And so this project here is, you could refer to it as phase 3 of Mud Creek and the tributary that flows under Sky Valley Way. Phase 1 was the Morley Bridge. As I just mentioned, phase 2 was the culverts in the curve there, and this would be phase 3. And this is at the pickleball courts. Can you pull those pictures up there, Sharon? I think, this tributary here that feeds in, this is scroll. Some of this is from the keep going. Okay. Anybody that goes to the pickleball courts that plays pickleball, you're aware of this. That is an aging culvert system. When we get substantial flooding, it causes problems. Again, this is phase 3, and we put this out to get prices. We are a small city. We find that a lot of times when we do try to go out to seek out competent contractors, a lot of these outfits, they're going after the $1 million projects. We're the small projects, and the quotes that we have, we actually received 3 quotes. One from Curbo Construction, one from Precision Paving. The third quote that we received from Caldwell Construction, it's not part of your packet because, number one, it was way out of scope as far as price, and secondly, there were some things that we had asked for, and I'm gonna let the guys talk about that. So we consider that kind of a disqualifying quote. But we did receive 2 quotes. Both of these companies, Curbo Construction has done work for the city in the past, as well as Precision Paving. They've done a lot of work. And so I will stop there, and I'll let Jerry, if you want to come up and add anything to that, since you and Kelly were actually the ones who met with these contractors.
This culvert right here is,
Talk amongst yourselves.
You can unclip it off the pole there. Just take the clip off.
This culvert was not one just to go out and pick. We've been watching it for a while, and you have one off at Knob Drive, which is up behind it, going up Knob Drive. As you turn up in behind the post office, and you have one below it out from the old lodge that's been replaced as well. As you can see, this culvert is standing, it's standing probably half of what that culvert is. What is that? It's 40 inch. It's a 40-inch culvert. I came up during the last rain, the big storm, and I took pictures myself, and on the other side, it was doing all it could do to handle that. If we had another Helene, and sure y'all have seen it where it's come up and over it, washed it out on both sides. But need some work done out here, getting the silt and stuff out of it as well to get it down below. But what was the 2 sizes of the pipe? 48. Go back with 2 48-inch pipes in there. And where the handrail is going across toward the pickleball court right here. We keep developing sinkholes, so there's issues going on there, and we had placed asphalt in there, and all of it has gone away. Filled it in, packed it, nothing's happening, and on the quotes that we got, as Jason was speaking on, the Caldwell, it was way out of scope, but they didn't include the handrail in on the quote and, several other things that was on the quote. It should have been on the quote, wasn't listed on there as far as their price. I'll let Cody touch on some of these figures from the LMIG, go toward this project.
It's a clip.
Looks like, the percentage that the LMIG, once approved, will be, giving us for the city is $44,786.67. That does require a 30% match. The match will be approximately.
What would be the difference between
Okay.
minimum 30%?
Right, minimum 30%. So, we will pay the rest of that with T-Splosh. Like we talked about before, this is a very necessary project that needs to happen. Like Jason said, it is phase 3. We've done the Edmore Bridge, and then the next culverts are below the chapel, and then here at the pickleball court. That Sky Valley Way is the main vein for Sky Valley. We're going to extend the backside of the walking path across the creek from the pickleball courts. We're going to be widening the walking trail with some crushed and run gravel for emergency vehicles. We're going to make our best attempt, and we've talked with the contractors, and they're going to make their best attempt to keep one lane open of Sky Valley Way at all times. We all know that things happen. Sometimes, if we can't make that happen, then that's what we're widening the walking trail for. Once the project is complete, we're going to remove that rock and store it for other uses and replant some grass, make it, pretty. We will be talking with Danielle at Timeshare because up on top of the hill there, we call it Condo Hill because it's mainly condos, timeshare condos, some full-time residents, but very few. We will be doing some door knocking on those doors, a couple weeks in advance, to give them a good notice on what's going to happen.
Shooting toward late February, early. Get started on it.
Let's see, like I said, it'll be 2 48-inch HDPE, which we feel like is the best move to make. That's very similar to the ones that we've done below the chapel. Those are 42-inch. These are actually going to be a little bit bigger. They will be taking in a lot more water. Like Jerry said, every time it rains hard, there's a swirl that goes in that culvert because it can't hold the capacity that comes down off of Knob Drive. That swirl is what's causing those sinkholes. I feel like we get this project done, all that will be solved.
I think it would also be, improvement as far as helping improve the dam itself, as much silt that's built in before you get to that dam down there that goes across the Vulcan Bridge down there as well, to open that thing up where it's got easier flow to get through there instead of everything trying to break loose at one time and put force on the dam itself. If you've looked at the dam lately, it's in bad shape. I mean, the water only goes around one side of it. Basically, when I was up during that last rainstorm, it was actually coming over pretty much all the way across the dam, but you could tell it was struggling to do what it needed to do, so therefore it's putting pressure on the dam itself.
Jerry, it seems to me that this particular culvert is the constriction point in the system. 8 years ago, we replaced the culvert upstream, about 100 yards. The culvert had actually collapsed and the road was collapsing and we had to close the road. But we replaced it with a pretty big culvert. So downstream has plenty of capacity. Upstream, it's coming in, and this is the little tiny culvert that isn't handling the stuff, and the water flows over the road here.
Yeah.
So to me, this is the critical place to replace a culvert. And you always need more capacity, and I'm thrilled that we're going from the 48 inch, the 40 inch. I thought it was a 36 inch when I looked at it, with 248s.
Yes.
Because it's cheap to get the additional capacity, but stuff happens. Trees wash down, a couple of branches get stuck in it, it collects leaves, and all of a sudden your capacity is diminished. So we absolutely have to get additional capacity there. And I just wanted to make sure that we're not putting two 40-foot pipes together. We're putting two 40-foot pipes adjacent, parallel to one another, right next to one another.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's great. That
And,
should do the job.
Speaking on the culvert above on Knob, when it was done, it's doing a great job, but it has a plate put over the culvert that's screwed to the back.
That's right.
Side of the wall.
Constriction.
During several of the storms, I went up and observed it and took some pictures this last time. I really don't know the purpose of that plate. Looks like it holds the water back and it starts to swirl, like it can't hold it all, and it's not getting the full capacity going through that, and it may be that it's to slow it down, but
yeah,
it's not slowing it down, it's just making it swirl and build up there for more debris and stuff to collect there ahead of it.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one that didn't understand why that was put in. There was some reason, but
Is this the appropriate time to ask questions?
Sure.
Okay, because I have several. The first two documents that you just showed when you were showing that are not documents that I ever received. So it looked like an overview map and looked like some kind of letter. So when you were making that presentation, those are two documents I didn't see.
That is part of the LMIG application. It was just those photos, just part of that. We just use that.
Right, well, I got the photos, but I didn't get the overview map and I didn't get the letter explaining it.
Yeah.
So the information.
The letter is just the letter that the mayor signs. It's typically not something you all would see. It's no intent to not provide that to you all. It's just a letter that basically describes the project for the year. That is something that the Georgia Department of Transportation requires. So, yeah.
I understand that, but I didn't get that or the thing other. In fact, I had to ask for any information about this because it was not included in the packet. And you sent me an email with a couple of those pictures, but they only show one side of the culvert. So I've gone down and looked at the back side because the pictures that you provided only were one side. So I went down and looked at that. So I have lots of questions. This is not an area of my expertise. That's why I'd love to have you here. Do we have a T-SPOS budget? Because I haven't seen how much.
We have not, as I mentioned earlier, we had thought that money would start coming in earlier than it is. As I mentioned, that those funds will start back around June, so there is money in a T-SPOS now, it's over $300,000 that account. I'll be glad to share that. And we're hoping that those disbursements will be in that $45,000 to $60,000 a month. So once that picks back up in June, we're only gonna get half a year of receivables. So we're trying to take that into consideration. Again, I've talked with Jerry and Cody. We are in the process of looking at some prioritized T-SPOS projects. the plan is to bring that before you all at the March planning retreat that we're gonna do with the Scaly Mountain Fire Department.
Will that include the budget for those, what does the budget look like for the 300,000 we already have?
That would just be part of that.
Okay, so there's no official budget
There's no
available yet,
budget. We have not programmed any projects for y'all's consideration.
but we're looking at funding for this project out of that, but it doesn't have a budget yet. Correct?
The 30% would come out of the T-Splosh. Yes.
Okay.
That's the way we've done that since
And
the past couple of years.
one of the other questions, and I sent these questions to you guys, and I know I sent them yesterday, so nobody had a chance to respond yet. How are the contractors picked? And even though you all disqualified that third quote, why was it not provided?
Well, it came in late, number one. Number two, it just didn't seem like, again, it was out of scope. Guys, they had a list of things. As you look at the two quotes you have, the intent was to get apples to apples. Those quotes were very close in what they were, what the city's asking for. Again, the other quote, there was a lot of exclusions. This does not include this, does not include that. So therefore, it was deemed a disqualifying quote. Again, it was no.
Do they recommend something different than what the
They
other
just
two?
they just didn't include it in the price.
Okay,
Yeah, so that was one. As far as picking quotes, as I mentioned earlier, being a small city, it's always been a struggle to find folks to want to come up here and do work.
I understand.
We've had history with Curvo. They've done work for us in the past. Precision has done work for us in the past. Caldwell Construction has done work in the past. So when we bring recommendations before the council, we spend a lot of time having conversations with these contractors about what the city expects, what we expect. When we sign contracts with these people, we put specifications in there of what they have to deliver to get paid and make sure they do what they're supposed to do. And a lot of, in the financial purchasing policy, anything under $100,000, it does not have to go out for sealed bids, but we are required to attempt to get 3 quotes. Sometimes we only get 1, sometimes we get 2, but we're able to get 2 again. And we put this out, and these were the 2 that came forward. I'm sure you've talked to some other companies. Some people just elect not to present the price to us. Again, when your companies that do millions of dollars, we're doing $50,000, $60,000 projects. A lot of times they're just not interested in working with us. And it's not, I'll just go there. What was your other question?
I have several more actually. The quick AI Google search showed that one of those contractors has several pending lawsuits and garnishments against them. I don't know that if that's a thing that is concerning or not, but as somebody that's new to it, that was one of my first inclinations. So one of the contractors that you said, they currently have garnishments, they have pending lawsuits, and they have already had other lawsuits against them. So I didn't know if that was something that is typical.
I mean,
I'm asking.
Do we
know that?
We don't normally go that deep into their financials. Again, we typically, if we have a relationship with them, I know you're not gonna make everybody happy. I know one of the contractors is here today. I don't want to embarrass anybody, but they could probably answer better than I could. But typically, we go into a contract with this company, and they know what we expect, and there's always more than one side to a story. If somebody had an issue with that contractor, I don't know, that's not shared with us, but all I can say is that we have expectations of what we expect for them to do for the city, and we will hold them to that.
I understand. It's just, again, you're asking for $75,000, and if it was my money, and it is my money, that I just, like I said, it was a quick AI Google search, and this is what came up, and I didn't know if that is, do we vet people, or do we look at that, any of that, and all of that? So, and it's not an opinion if it's actually garnishment in a lawsuit, it's been decided. So it's not like somebody just said they didn't like them. You presented this as phase 3 of a multi-year project. Can you direct me to where this project was adopted by the council and the scope of this project, and how this 3-year multi-phase project, where it was? Because I could not find anything on it.
Well, phase 1 was when the council approved the Morley Bridge. It's been an unofficial, it's not, we've been going, this is phase 1, phase 2, but internally, it's always been referred to as a phase one.
So it's
phase
not
two.
officially a project.
No, it's officially a project, I'm saying, don't get wrapped up on the phase one, phase two aspect. That's just internal terminology that we use. But phase one was approved by this council back in 2021 or 22. That was an LMIG project, and then the culverts and the curve there between the chapel and the old lodge, that was approved by this council in, I believe, 23. And so the normal protocol is that if it exceeds $25,000, it has, and under 100,000, it would come before the council for a vote,
So it's a standalone project,
it's a standalone
but
project.
you're tying it to the other, okay.
Let me just make a comment if I can about
Sure.
that. What previous councils have looked at projects down the road, what kind of things can we expect that we're gonna have to do? Those culverts were a big issue for us early on. I mean, imagine one of them crashing in, I mean, with a big truck going over, so you just can't have that. So we were looking down the road, trying to anticipate what kind of expenses we were gonna have. We prioritized, the Morley Bridge was first priority, and we knew that these others were coming. So it was not like we had a contract to do these things in a certain order. It was that this is the most important, this will be next, that'll be third, these things have to be done. And so we're gonna do them. So it was all done in a planning session. You know, these are the things we have to do. So, I mean, it's been on the agenda, but not, I mean, we don't write a document to support that. We just know that it's gonna happen. And if something happened with finances or some other thing came up that was more important, we could always change it. But it is something that needs to be done, and we have a plan to do it.
Yeah, I'm not arguing. Again, I'm just trying to get educated and catch up to understand if there was a bigger overview, like, did engineers come and say, you know, here's the plan and your water system is getting back up just like last week or the week before when it was flooding at Marley Bridge. How is this contributing to that? And is this gonna solve that problem? Or is this because we're doubling the size of what's there now? Is that gonna overwhelm it? Because now more water is coming through. So I'm just trying to understand the history of what is pending. My last comment or question is, I feel like this was presented like as a pressing issue because of this LMAG application deadline is February 2nd. The document provided for us, though, is dated May 12th of last year. So the document that you provided with the grant form, so this looks like you've had it for 8 months. So I feel like this is a pressure thing, even though it's been, if this was sitting as long as it's been, then why was this first filled out in May of last year? And September and December were 2 meetings that were canceled because there was no new business. Why is this now so urgent to us without a lot of information that I feel like I provided?
That is.
This is when you provided, when I asked for more information, because I wasn't presented with any information to make a decision about this. I asked for some and you sent these documents.
That must be that's probably when the Georgia Department of Transportation approved the allocation of those funds. I just printed that out. We don't get that application normally until like November. Normally, this is something that is presented to the mayor to be signed November, December. We got transitioned. We had to wait until Mayor Cotton was sworn in. So typically this is seen again in that November, December period. So the fact she was sworn in January 6th, we had her sign this form, we got it submitted. So there was just a timing crunch just because of an election. The outgoing mayor she just deferred that to the incoming mayor to sign this form. That document there, I just printed that out the other day. I can't speak 100% for sure, but if that goes back to May, that's probably, you know, that the state runs the July 1 to June 30th budget. That's probably something they come up around May of this year when they were allocating the funding. So there's a date, that date's probably associated with GDOT, but there's a time. So I can't speak when that was done, but again, I just printed that out to you all very recently because we don't get the notification of the LMIG like November.
Well, I went to their website and they have lots of grants available, and I know we've used them in the past. I feel like this was presented as a pressing issue that we had to make a decision on today because the application was February 2nd, and it sounds like this is a long-standing issue. And I personally would like to have more information before I agree to $75,000, especially since we're not have a T-Splosh budget to pull it from specifically. So for that reason, I would like to defer voting on this for now. Just because the sale ends at midnight is not a reason to buy.
Any further discussion on this? Any questions? I'm sorry.
I had a question.
Yes.
So I know when you're doing like for like construction, if we had replaced that pipe with the exact same pipe, really no engineering required, but since we're going to bigger pipes, do we feel like there's any structural issues there? Is there gonna have to be different reparation around?
You know, we went with larger pipes, we did the Moody Bridge. I know that question has been brought up in the past about engineering. It's not that the city, we are an issuing authority, we issue our own permits. Small city, we try to find competent contractors to do this work. This has been in the past, this type of project being a replacement maintenance versus new. Obviously, if we were doing a new road, a new bridge, new culvert, absolutely engineering plans. Being a replacement, trying to watch city dollars, trying to stay within scope and to keep things moving forward. We have historically not done engineering plans. If that's something that the council wants to start doing, then certainly that's within your scope of authority to do that. That certainly increases costs, that certainly increases timing, but again, it's been, we talked with, I know when we did the Morley Bridge, for example, we had a lot of conversations with engineers. We talked about trying to get prices for that. And talking with the county, they do a lot of projects, but they don't get engineering plans. And replacement maintenance, it's just, this was deemed something that was felt that a competent contractor could do without having to go forth for that.
We'll note that I would like to have engineers involved. They're professionals and this is what they do. And any money that we can save by recognizing that we're doing something that has been deemed professional, that they can also look at a higher scope, like, again, the Morley Bridge just flooded, that was alert sent out about it flooding. I think that will save us money in the long term. Also, I know a lot of these projects have gone over budget, and if the engineering price would have been something that maybe have prevented some of those projects from going over budget in the past. So I definitely think an engineering, especially overview of our drainage, because it's so critical, especially if there's any kind of development or coming, the areas that are going that way, those drive overs, those roads all have cracks, ensuring that whatever we do put in place is stable enough and strong enough to support weight limits that and weight loads that would be coming through for construction, if that is in fact going to ever happen. I want to do it right and do it right the first time and not have to redo it again.
Jason, I share the idea of doing things right and doing things once, but I'm not an engineer. I'm an economist. I worked for one of the top 10 engineering companies for 19 years. Their successor firm, Jacobs Engineering, was the last year, in 2024, the largest engineering firm in the country, in terms of billings. And I know that engineers typically don't design culverts. It's usually the draftsmen that do that. These are common recurring things. And you know, the important thing is that upstream you've got the wing walls to funnel it in so the water doesn't wash out under the road around that, and it directs the water in. And the contractors know how to do these things. And the fact that it's a replacement bridge and that, you know, we know how big the culverts are up above and down below, we have a pretty good idea what needs to be done here. And I think we could probably just go ahead and do it. I don't think we need the engineering in this particular case.
Are there any more questions? Thank you.
Sure.
Are there any more questions? Yes.
Our intentions when we look at projects, is to do it right, not have to go back and do it, and look at it again for a long time, and make it easier on the next generations coming in, but it is what, I mean, it is what it is. And you can't tell somebody or promise somebody something, and it's always gonna happen that way, you know what I'm saying? You always have to expect things, you don't want it to happen that way, but, it's not, you can't really guarantee that you won't have to go back into something, and such as that COVID issue or anything else, if everything was put in perfect, then we wouldn't have nothing to do. And, you know, anyway, it's just nature plays its role on roads for sure.
Well, Sky Valley was developed by some folks, and, you know, it's a great idea. I'm glad they did it, but, you know, they didn't know things were gonna work for sure. They put in the culverts, and we learned that, you know, some of the culverts weren't even culverts. You know, one of them was an old drilling casing. It was round, water went through it. Hey, put it in. We've got lots of, you know, 12-inch, 14-inch culverts that are on lots that haven't been developed that, you know, I wouldn't drive a truck over them. That's just the way it is. That's what we inherited.
I've mentioned it before too, as well, that, I met with Ms. Beasley myself, and we spoke about some culverts, but, a lot of them, if you drive through the city, if it needs to be a 12 or 15-inch culvert, it might be a 8-inch or vice versa. So there's a lot of culvert issues that need to be addressed, you know, along driveways and stuff like that. But this bigger one that we're looking at right now is, like Cody spoke on, it's a main way in and out. It's a good issue at hand to look at for sure.
And if I understand correctly, you've got a list of culvert projects.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Please identify yourself. Thank you.
308 Skyline Drive, Lincoln. A quick question for the council and for you. Given that there may be future development in the area that would impact this, the Harrison Merrill, that whole property, are the culverts that you're proposing, are they taking this development into consideration? Because that will affect the watershed.
What, 140 to 248 inches?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think if I understand right, we're gonna be putting in HDPE pipe, which is plastic pipe. That's the same material that's in the Head Morley Bridge and the same material that's in the one below the chapel. So I would think that, you know, that's gonna hold up to anything that they can drive across it. But, we have concrete trucks in and out. The Head Morley Bridge is held up. And held through, you know, some pretty big storms, and right below the chapel, same thing. We have big dump trucks come in from time to time and have seen no, degrading since we put those in.
And is there a reason, or what, is there 248s, a 72, from my understanding, does 2.5 times what 248s do? Is there a reason we went with 248s versus a 72?
Yeah, utilities in the ground.
The utilities,
Yes,
and is there a reason?
water, power, cable.
But can you use box or oval to justify for, or make the decision over the depth? I mean, I'm kind of talking a little bit out of my league here, so forgive me if these are ignorant questions to you all.
Yeah.
Box culverts are a little more expensive.
As it is.
You'd have to run, there'd be a hump of the road.
Right.
If you start going too big on pipe and say.
But that's why I said if you went oval or square, I understand is supposed to be a counter to depth. Is that being considered? I mean, I'm not,
Did they make a square 48 inch?
I think historically we've put in round culverts and that's just what we went with.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think when we talked about the Morley Bridge, I was interested in a box culvert, which is, you see them on Kelly's Creek Road. Big concrete square things, lots of water capacity going through. That's a lot more concrete and expense.
you say that like it's a bad thing.
Well, this is a fairly small creek. Now, as Lou pointed out, we get more development up on Knob Creek Drive. There's going to be more runoff, so there's going to be more water going through that.
And that's my point. Some
Yeah.
future thinking in terms
Yeah.
of preparation for the future.
That's where putting in extra capacity now needs to take that into account. Now, the 40-inch pipe, when you expand from a 36 or 40 or a 40 to a 48, the capacity increases exponentially, the area of the circle, pi r squared. And that's, capacity depends on how fast you can get the water flowing through, but that's up to Mother Nature, how much is gonna back up and back. I've monitored the Morley Bridge and the one at the chapel, and in particular, the Morley Bridge, it never gets to more than a third full, and it used to back up there. At the chapel, it used to flow over the road. When we did the Morley, we didn't know if and when we were gonna get funding to do the one up at the chapel, because we were just pushing the problem upstream. 248-inch pipes compared to 40, we could do the math, but that's a pretty substantial increase in capacity there.
Is there any downsides to having it bigger than you need
Um,
or what you think
yeah,
you
there's a
need?
little bit of cost for the pipe,
But if you have to go back and replace it
Five.
later because it wasn't big enough,
well,
that's more cost. And I like your
I don't
upstream
think it's
pun
gonna
for a
happen,
minute.
but
Is that an upstream
I really
pun?
think we're okay on this one.
Okay, that's your opinion. I totally get it. Thank you.
Come back and talk to me in
Thank
40
you
years
all.
and
Right.
We have a question on Zoom from one of the participants. And let me say before we move on that the city council will be attending Georgia Municipal Association training in February. We will all be attending this in Athens. And I assure you that I will have a better grasp of Robert's rules and I appreciate you bearing with me right now. So, thank you. The
Robert,
question.
do you have a question? Yeah, I'm still identifying, so. Okay, he said Jerry mentioned the pressure of the dam, and I recall environmental constraints on removing the dirt that has substantially filled the pond across from the post office. Wouldn't larger pipes increase the water flow and pressure on the dam? Did you hear?
Yeah, I think maybe it would increase the pressure some, but here's the thing, whenever that culvert that we're talking about replacing backs up, it runs over the road and gets down there anyway.
The flow is the
The
flow.
flow is the flow. It goes down through the pond regardless of how it gets there. It's the valley, all the water coming off of Knob Drive comes to that pond, that dam, that creek, the Morley Bridge, all of it. It's gonna get there no matter how it gets there.
Yeah.
And
then it's
so-
gonna go over the top.
And by us doing this, it's just gonna keep it from flowing over the road.
Yeah.
Versus flowing over the road causing more damage. Getting into the pond anyway, putting pressure on the dam anyway.
What's happening is that the place on the far side of the dam where the water goes over, that's getting lower and lower and lower. And that's actually putting less pressure behind the dam, except with all the accumulated silt in there.
I think prior to my time, some environmentalists have maybe looked at dredging that pond, but it's gonna cost several $1,000s, $700,000.
One of the big objections to that, and we did have people from the University of Georgia come up and look at it and analyze it, and, we were hoping that it would be a wetland or, do some things there. But it is a primary trout stream, and that has special regulations, and you just can't go messing with it just because you want to.
Yeah, you just can't dig it out.
That's exactly right.
How bad will the problem be if the dam does break?
That's a great question.
It'll change the flow for a few weeks, and after that, it'll be normal.
Well, then there'll be a whole lot of silt that's held up behind that dam, which is gonna end up in the big lake.
Gotcha.
That's not good either. I mean,
Oh, I'm sorry, please identify yourself.
Paul Wheeler, 33 Thunder Lane. For the head walls on this project, are they gonna be faced with stone similar to the Moline culvert, or are they just? And also, what size are they? How tall, how big are the wing walls? I know what the contractor based the bid on, what the design was for that.
Right, so it's more or less gonna do it like, the one below the chapel. It's not gonna have very high head walls, and that's the reason that we got a quote to put back, the handrails. That there is existing handrails there. I don't think they are, able to be saved, so that's why we got a quote to put in handrails. But the head walls will be wing walls. There's not a.
Is there a drawing that shows that?
Measurement on here.
And you know how big to build it?
Just, I mean, historically, we just let the contractor do, what they professionally think needs to be done.
And the city manager mentioned that for all new things, you hire engineers to do, is that correct?
What I mentioned was, Paul, that if this was a new road, or if we were crossing a creek new, that certainly I think it would be prudent to hire an engineer, but this being deemed a replacement maintenance historic, we just relied on the contractor. The contractor that we're actually recommending, I don't want to put you on the spot, Blake, but he's here today. He could probably chime in. I know you've looked at this on several occasions. Can you provide any input?
Yeah.
If you're selected, what you'd be doing as far as.
Have 2-foot wing walls to stop where there's been eroded, before you even get to the culvert. And, the reason that you can't make the culvert any bigger than it is, you need about 1 foot to 18 inches of cover. If you put any bigger, that's gonna put a speed bump in the road. And it'd be an 8-inch head wall, 8-inch with the 2-foot kickers on each side to catch everything in.
So the new Evergreen right out the back, what was the engineer that designed that?
But it was an old trail, but, again, it was, I know where you're going with this. No, there was no engineering plan.
Well, what I'm going with is you're continuously bringing projects and they start out at this price and they end up double.
To my knowledge, the Morty Bridge came on budget.
No,
The,
no, it didn't.
yeah.
All right, moving on. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, would it be appropriate to make a movement that we go with the Kerbo estimate as lowest cost bid? Precision Engineering is a great company, done a lot of good work for us. They show up, the day after we call them for consultation, but they've well, I'm sorry, this is properly the discussion.
It's correct.
So I
So
move
we
approve
have a
the Kerbo.
motion from Council Member Curtis to move forward with the quote from Kerbo for the two replacement culverts on Sky Valley Way. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
We want to discuss.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Told you. Do we have any further discussion of this?
I've compared each line item in each cost category. And on all the materials, Precision Paving has added more of a markup than Kerbo. The only thing that Kerbo is more expensive on is the culvert. Their bid is $20,000 and Precision's is 10. That difference makes me think, and I don't know this, but I would look to the guys that have talked to these guys, that's two different types of culvert. Maybe one's an old concrete culvert. Maybe the expensive one is the new plastic ones that last longer. I don't know. But even with that, the bid comes in substantially lower.
Both contractors were, in our scope of work, they were pricing HDP pipe.
Ah, okay,
Where they get their pricing from, I'm not sure.
okay.
Is there further discussion from the council? Seeing none, we'll proceed with the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Me.
Thank you. The motion passes.
It's okay.
And we'll continue with Kerbo. Number 11, the new business would be the marketing committee, advisory committee proposal. Marketing proposal, and council member Jim Curtis.
Madam Mayor, I move that the city approve a $5,000 contribution to the marketing committee. The marketing committee has consisted of 4 members, each of which contributes $5,000. There's then the club, the POA, the timeshares, and the city. The purpose of the marketing committee is to solve a long-standing problem. We're a second home community. Our real estate market functions differently than in most of the places that we've lived. Banks have different rules for lending to for second homes because when times get tough, that's switch mortgage you pay. You pay your primary mortgage. It's living in Sky Valley is a luxury for most of us. We are, in fact, a second home community. People, we've got substantial number of homes, and yet the demand for second homes fluctuates. After 6 or 7 years of prosperity and job stability, people start looking to buy homes, second homes, and we see our prices start getting bid up. For the last year, the economy has been such that people haven't been hiring. They don't know what AI is going to do. People aren't quitting their jobs. This is not the kind of thing that promotes second home. It's not a good time to buy second homes coming up, it looks like. Some of you may remember that after the so-called Great Recession of 2008 and 2009, our property values fell substantially. People that had bought homes just before that found their homes underwater. I actually bought in 2009, and it was real clear what was happening. And that the prices were going down, so I extrapolated the line a little bit, bought the house for that price, because nobody was there, nobody was buying homes. Well, as it turned out, it kept going down. I paid half of what the house was originally listed at, and property values kept going down. And it wasn't until COVID in 2020 that our property values started back up again. My own neighborhood, St. Louis, it took 3 years before property values got back up. In DC, it was less than 2 years. In Sky Valley, nothing. Right now, our property values are comparable to elsewhere on the Highlands Plateau. That's a good thing. Now, the problem is that eventually a lot of people have to leave Sky Valley for medical reasons. And a lot of us are financially secure and we can do that without any problem, but not everybody. And a lot of folks need that house sale to help them set up someplace else, pay for medical bills. And what happens when there's no buyers? Well, the point of marketing is to get people interested in Sky Valley, to keep Sky Valley on the radar. There's a bunch of us that are second generation, and now there's even some third generation homeowners, but we don't have enough relatives and friends to invite up here to get to make sure the demand is consistent. Once upon a time, thousands and thousands of people circulated through Sky Valley through the ski slope. And, so the seed gets planted. Once you come to Sky Valley sells itself. And the point of the marketing committee has been to get people to come to Sky Valley for the first time. Now, after some starts and stops, I think we have found a way to do this on a very small budget. I think the first thing we did was look at, let's put an ad in Southern Living, and now, holy cow, our whole budget didn't even come close to what it would take to do that or to plant an article there. So the heart of Sky Valley seems to be the golf course. The golf course in the city grew up and built up together. So the traveling golfer community is basically, that's the demographic. That's one way of getting to a fraction of the demographic that is going to buy in Sky Valley. So we've been inviting golf writers, travel writers to Sky Valley. They play a round of golf. We give them a tour of the Sky Valley. We tell them about, hey, we've actually got a city government to keep things going. Developers come and go, but we're permanent. We're the only place in the mountain where we enforce our building codes. You're not going to buy a crummy house. You got 24/7 police protection, so you're only here for a little while. And we get these really nice articles put in golf publications around the country. 50,000 circulation, 75.
I think this should be part of the discussion. I think you were starting with a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was confused.
Right? Can you start with the motion?
Yes.
So I
Forgive
don't,
me.
no.
I'm sorry.
I see you're passionate,
Okay.
but I think this is discussion stuff. And so
It
maybe we
is,
should get,
absolutely.
could you please try the motion again so that I understand where we're at?
Okay. The motion was that we approve $5,000, which is the city's share of a program which I think benefits every single property owner.
Stop.
in the city. I'm
Stop
sorry.
with the
Did I do it
motion.
again? Did I do it again?
Let's get the motion
Okay.
out there.
I know
There is a motion on the floor.
we give the $5,000 to the marketing committee for
Hard stop.
this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hard stop.
Do we have a second for that motion? There's a motion and a second. Is there further discussion?
Now.
Should I shut up?
Now you can say,
Thank you.
and I'll go after
All
you.
right, seeing none. we will
Wait, no,
close
no,
down the
I
minutes.
have discussion.
We have another one. All
I
right.
have a clarification, the $5,000 already shows in the budget under. a line
No.
item? Yeah.
And that's kind of odd.
Oh,
Last November, when we approved the budget, we did not approve the budget for the marketing committee. And for some years, that's been done in January. I thought we were gonna do it in January.
Jason. has-
Councilor, I could probably clarify that.
Okay.
When you did approve the budget in November, there was $5,000 that was earmarked for marketing. And then what happens is usually January, the marketing committee comes together. And if there's other commitments from POA, township, et cetera, they present to you all a list of projects and what those cost. And then y'all come back and you approve that total budget based on what the 5,000 from the city, if the POA does 5,000, club, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of a two-step process. Step one was the $5,000 that was allocated in the budget, but then the next step would be the marketing budget as a whole. So I just, that's how that has typically worked.
Thank you, Beth.
Okay.
And Beth, do you have more comments on that? I was gonna say, thank you. That was my understanding. And there's also a 6,000 and some change carryover from their budget last year that would be applied to the budget.
Right.
I think that's kind of putting the horse before the cart. I think we should talk about the marketing committee before we talk about the funding of the marketing committee. So I would be in favor of discussion of the marketing committee. I understand that the city has a vested interest because it's based, your argument is that or your presentation is that it's about to do with taxes and the value, and that is, of course, is funding for the city. So I understand that the city has an interest in that. I would be interested in a motion that talked about the marketing committee and not necessarily the funding before the discussion of the marketing committee.
Well,
that's my discussion.
All right, that motion is not on the table, so we will continue
That's my
with
discussion.
Councilmember Curtis's motion, seconded by Councilmember Allred, and is that all the discussion that we have? Do we have any further discussion?
I've heard.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Madam Mayor? Thank you.
Sorry, please
Michelle
identify
Herschel,
yourself,
108.
Michelle Herschel, thank you.
There are four other, the club, POA, there's four entities that are part of this marketing strategy for the area. I don't see how that rises to the level of a committee. If you want somebody here to be part of the discussion with the other entities, and you can bring those discussions back to this council, but I'm not sure where a whole committee needs to be established.
Well, the problem is that, I can see marketing as being something important. I don't know anything about marketing, and it's a pretty specialized field. And we've got people who have had this kind of experience in the past. And the biggest item in our budget is for our consultant, Doug Hollingsworth. And he's the guy who organized the Georgia Golf Trail and publicizes that. And he's got the connections in the industry to get the travel writers, the golf writers to come to Sky Valley and take a look. And, it's just like the first time you and I found Sky Valley, we were just blown away. And they meet people in the community, and this is a pretty friendly bunch. And they're just uniformly impressed. And we try to emphasize that, you know, hey, nice houses, you can live well here. There's waterfalls, trails, there's stuff for the rest of the family to do. The natural history of this area is very interesting. There's kayaking, you know, there's just so many things to do. And then, you know, just head up towards Highlands. There's more stuff to do right outside our doorstep.
But my
Yeah.
whole premise is there a need for a marketing committee? That's really what it boils down to.
Well, who else is going to do it? I mean, if it takes specialized knowledge and contacts that we don't individually have, it's, you know, we've got guys in the city that know water and solid waste and road construction, and but we don't have real marketing. I don't know.
Tim, I'd like to speak if I could.
I'm sorry, this
Hi,
was
Gordon.
for
Yes.
council discussion really, and again, I apologize for the Roberts rules, but I understand that we had folks who had to talk in public comment, in the public comment period about this, so I would ask that we hold comment from the committee members
Madam Mayor.
and
I
continue
would-
with the motion.
Gently, it's the mayor's discretion. And the past procedure has been for the council to discuss it and then open it up to comments. And, you know, the advantage of that is we're all talking about the same thing at the same time.
And time is of the essence in here. We've been going for a while, and I want to respect everybody's time as well.
Excuse me, this is Rudy on Zoom. I had sent a note in if I could make a comment. Is it out of line for me to do that?
Well, we have a motion on the.
We have a motion on the floor here.
Oh, that's,
Yes.
I kind of want to, I just want to make a comment on the motion, but I guess I won't. Okay.
I'm sorry. Oh, goodness.
It's.
Welcome to the party.
Yes. Chris Pence.
Well, Chris Pence, driver lane. I think it's germane here that Gordon Brand speaks because Gordon has been on this committee.
All right.
And I think it affects some of the vote, or
Okay.
your understanding what the committee does and whether we need that committee or not.
Yes.
So I think Gordon really needs to give his input on what has happened with this committee and where they're taking it, and if we need it or not. Michelle, that's a good question, but I think your input is vital before you vote.
That's
Before,
right.
and
And-
I have
Mr.
a
Macy.
question. Can we take off the motion that's on the
Yeah.
floor then? Because we're really talking about whether or not the marketing committee should continue versus the $5,000 approved. Because I think we established that there's $5,000 in the budget for the marketing committee. I don't know how to do that, how to remove that motion that does not need to be
Well,
voted on.
we can modify the motion.
I think
And
Gordon,
it's, looks like our city
Yes.
attorney has.
Here's the thing though, Beth.
We just need to.
The marketing
Yes.
committee is going to reconstitute itself.
It's not our committee.
Yeah,
It's an independent committee of citizens and organizations who get together to do this, and we all contribute to it. Okay?
I understand.
So, I mean, we can't dissolve the marketing committee. We have no power to do that.
yeah.
I
It's not our committee.
was under the impression that was one of the mayoral advice, one of the mayoral
So it's
committees
an
established.
independent group of people representing different major economic factors in this community who got together. They promote the community together, and all of the four major players contribute to their effort. We're voting here to see whether we want to continue to contribute to the market committee.
And Madam Mayor, if I can.
Yes.
I will make that motion in just one second, but I'm looking at the resolution regarding the Community Connections Advisory Committee. And item number 5, and that is explore voluntary community partnerships with civic groups, the POA, nonprofit organizations, and local businesses.
Yes.
And that is exactly what the marketing committee is. And it has been a going concern. It seems like this would be very much in alignment with your priorities.
Yes.
I just like to say, and since Chris was able to speak and I wasn't, I just like to say, I like to see the goals. What are the goals? Why, if we're spending $5,000, and I've been seeing the marketing committee ever since at least since 2012, I believe. I haven't seen what our goals are. I've seen some things that they've done, but I've never seen the goal. And personally, I would like to have their mission statement in writing so we could look at it. I think the council should look at that mission statement and what their goals are before they vote. And I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I would yield to Gordon on that.
All right, we still do have to amend the motion, and I will remind you that in my earlier remarks, I asked that we consider this next month. But if that is on the table now.
We have, the marketing committee has things to do if they are going to proceed independently of the city. And that's what makes it urgent now. And I will amend the motion to include both authorizing city participation in this committee and funding in the amount of $5,000.
We have a motion on the table, amended motion to have the continuation of the city and the committee and to allocate the $5,000 going forward. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Sure.
Thank you. Any discussion? Or? Yes. Yes, please,
Right.
identify yourself. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I guess it's good afternoon. I was gonna say this morning. My name is Gordon Brand, and I live in 647 Overlook Way with my wife, or Jeanette. I want to give you a few things about marketing. I asked a question to AI. Should small towns do marketing? This is the response. Marketing for small towns is essential. A small town usually comes with a small budget, is in limited resources, and are very personal with its businesses. Key reasons for a small town marketing: economic growth, attracts tourists for revenues, encourages new residents to move in, expanding the tax base. Tourism and visitor attraction creates destinations by showcasing unique experiences of local charm. Community identity and pride shares the town's story, history, and values to foster a strong sense of place for residents and to build a cohesive brand. And you heard about Scott Valley, coolest and highest. Sport, local businesses promote local shops, restaurants, services, recognize that a thriving local business scene is vital for a town's future. Counteract obscurities. In digital world, marketing helps small towns stand out from the noise and becomes discoverable to a wider audience. Leverage strengths. Capitalize on the tight-knit community, word of mouth, and personal connections that large cities don't have. Personally, I have read and heard comments that the city of Sky Valley is such a unique place, word of mouth, there is no need for marketing committee, and the past city funds spent on marketing should be rather spent on the other more important issues. Or marketing should be the responsibility of the POA, timeshares, or the club. We purchased our home, Jeanette and I purchased our home back in 2006. With the 2000 recession, our Sky Valley home for years was worth less than what we paid for it. We justified the concerns that the Sky Valley property values and sales were down since we purchased for enjoyment, not so much for a financial return. We love it up here. We did notice, however, that during this slowdown, there was really, people weren't taking care of their property. It was down. There was a definite decline in the Sky Valley. Thankfully, with the returns of the property values, owners are doing a wonderful job again of maintaining their properties. Going into 2020, there was over 70 homes for sale in Sky Valley. Over 70, and it was generally declined. There were a lot of people very concerned what was going on. Actually, the mayors got together, POAs got together. What do we have to do to turn this around, as Jim alluded to? There was a real serious concern just a few years ago. So what was the change? What happened? Why did all of a sudden now we're at the point? Think about it. What happened? Well, I can tell you what happened. First, COVID. COVID happened, and the introduction of the Sky Valley Marketing Committee. Oh, the tourist. Now we're at it. So from 2020 on, these things happen. They just didn't magically happen. COVID was part of it, but I'm going to wrap it up here. Going in, we can say, going to 2020, COVID, okay. Media writers, golf, let me give you an example. Media writers, golf, for golf, vacations, real estate, were based in Florida, Alabama, Indiana, Michigan, and the Northeast, and visited Sky Valley, as Jim has said, and wrote wonderful articles about Sky Valley. Yesterday, I received a note from Doug Hollinger of Golf Life for the 18th annual Georgia Golf and Travel Award Program, 18,000 entries from August to November of this year, from last year, voted Sky Valley Country Club number 18 hole, favored the favorite par 4. This will be sent out to over 1 million people in a few years. So what? Marketing, I think, is similar to memberships in community clubs and churches. If the leaders are so focused on their mission and forget about membership, it generally is a distraction. I've seen it over and over again. You get into it and you're so into it, membership, then less membership, then what happens? Less membership, less revenues coming in, less people to do the work. It's a general spiral. So that's one example.
Thank you. We've had 5
I'm gonna give you one more, just I'll wrap it up. Well, I'm gonna say, I related also to the area of kayaking. If you ever been in an area of kayaking, you're working in marketing and so forth, you're working up straight and you go along just to keep even. And we got, Sky Valley we're a beautiful community, but we have competition. We have people out there that also are looking for the growth. So how do you get yourself out? So I'm saying it's essential that we go out and keep marketing going, whatever pays, keep it going. Thank you.
All right.
I have one comment.
Thank you.
I'm not in favor of continuing the marketing committee. I just want to, the committee's fine, you'll keep going. I'm saying the city's fine. For me, it's a lot more about than an ROI. So it's my understanding the club's no longer part of the marketing committee, citing an ROI. So do we have numbers that prove how much the marketing committee in 2025 has increased timeshare rentals or homeowners coming in?
Well, the kind of, it's hard to draw the connection, Jesse, but the kinds of metrics that we do have tend to be how many issues of, golf life go out. And it's substantial. And, I mentioned the Southern Living thing. I think that what we get for what we put into it is substantial. I can't tell you that we sold 10 houses last year because of this.
Yeah, I get that. I'm saying, why did the club leave the committee if it's doing stuff?
The club has been a primary beneficiary of this. And I can't tell you that. Maybe Chris has some insights. The marketing committees go with respect to the club, and I think the city wants all of our institutions to prosper, is that if our role with respect to the club would be able to have people move to Sky Valley that will then join the club, strengthen the, build houses in Sky Valley. And more members would mean we'd stay open longer in the winter or, be able to do more things. It's been a cooperative thing, and until very recently, when the word has gone out that the mayor wanted to, in her words, kill the committee or eliminate the committee, that was the first time we've had problems. That POA voted to contribute. Timeshares had given a commitment, and how does this fit into our personal budgets? We're a city, we've got $2.4 million in our budget for our enterprise funds and our general fund, and that's before the restricted SPLOST and other funds start rolling in. $5,000 for the city, from the city to the marketing committee. We've got 600 plus houses. That's $8, and 600 houses would be an $8.33 contribution per home. All of us have heirs, or you may need that money sometime. I think I think we should be tending our tax digest like a garden with water and fertilizer. And that's how I sort of look at the marketing committee. And I don't think, $8 per house is, something that we want to scrimp on.
I would like to jump in for a minute, please. I think that return on investment is not the driving factor for all things that go for a city, especially a city of this nature. I think that's an important thing to consider, but I don't believe that $5,000, and to Council Allred's point, this is not technically, it is a committee that was in formation before, and there are four institutions that are very committed people in this community. I have been to the marketing meetings, which is more than I think most people up here. I've been to all the marketing meetings. I have seen how they run. They run excellent meetings. Gordon's leadership has been phenomenal on that. Do I think it's a little golf heavy? I do, and I'm a golfer, but I think there's a lot more that we can do. So instead of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, I'm going to steal somebody's, I think your wife's term from last week. If we could maybe, instead of creating new committees like Community Connections Committee, that we could revamp some of the things that we already have in place. It's run by enthusiastic volunteers, which we are not having a great opportunity in filling the other committees with. I don't think that we should throw it out. So I will support this in that reason, because I think there's a lot of good people doing a lot of good things. Can it have some tweaking to it? Yes. I asked you and the leadership, I would like to see, according to Ruby Mason's comment, I would like to see mission statements. I want to see goals. I want to see documents that show what drives your decisions on what you do for us. But I think it's an important thing on unifying all four institutions as a group. And I think it's for the benefit and the health of Sky Valley.
If I understand it correctly, what we're debating right now is whether the city's going to give $5,000, not whether or not we're eliminating the committee, right?
It's both. The amendment, my understanding was the motion was amended for both.
To continue supporting the committee. Councilman Allred explained that this is not one of the mayorally created committees, which I was not aware of.
Point of order. The marketing committee is a city committee. It was established by Bob McNair. Bob O'Keefe was the very first chair of the committee. Right, Jason?
That's before my time, Paul, but if you were on council here.
Yes.
The marketing committee is a city committee.
Well, that actually was, that was before my time too, with Bob McNair forming the committee. I came in on the tail end of it, but yes.
It's being treated as such.
When Holly was elected, she appointed it, and the members of the committee were approved by the council. And so it goes into the fund, so it is a city committee. It's not operating out here by itself. The money goes into the marketing committee, into the city, you guys write the check. Who wrote the check for these goofy signs out here on the road?
Paul, I think the city the council has in the past approved those members, but those members were appointed by the entities. The club nominated its own, the POA selected its representatives and timeshares.
But we post their agendas, we record their meetings,
Right,
we post
right,
the
right.
minutes, so
Yeah.
that we're treating it like a city committee
Right.
by precedent.
Yeah, you're all right.
All right, do we have any further discussion on the motion? All right, I would like to call the vote, restating the motion to provide the $5,000 to the marketing committee and to continue supporting the marketing committee. Is that my understanding?
Yes.
Thank you. Now I would like to call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nope.
All
Sorry.
opposed?
No, I'm opposed.
All right.
Welcome to the No Club.
All right, so the motion passes.
Madam Mayor, just to be clear, so that was 3 yeses and 2 noes?
One no.
1 no, 4 yeses. Congratulations to the marketing committee. We look forward to hearing great things from you. Moving on to number 12, which is the sewer resolution. And the septic to sewer that you, the environmental study that you recommended, Councilman Curtis, to have on the.
The council members have seen a proposed scope of work. And the issue with the last study that was done last summer did a great job of presenting the data annualized that showed E. coli in our lake and showed 2 spikes. It showed a plateau in between. They didn't say it very specifically, but I think the 2 spikes were associated with the 2 incidents of leaking septic systems. Now, if we're talking about in the valley, the first part of the community that was developed, 45, 50-year-old systems that had essentially failed, needed some work, got the work, but the systems aren't getting any better. I mean, it's all underground. We don't know roots, whatever's in there. During COVID, when our population swelled, there was this plateau over the 3 or 4 years. What the report did not conclude conclusively on was, is it possible that there is that animals, either farm animals in the watershed or wildlife, that could have contributed to this? Now, each annual average consisted of 8 readings, 4 during the high season, 4 during the low season. So that gives us, if we get more granular in analyzing that, we might be able to establish some correlations. I'm thinking it's not gonna be hard to figure out if there's any horses or cattle upstream in Mud Creek. We could walk to the end of the watershed pretty quickly. Animal contributions sit on the surface and only get washed into the lakes and the streams after pretty good sized rain. Now, there's meteorological data, which the consultant did not consider, that might correlate the readings with rainfall downpours, which would suggest it was surface runoff. There are, the city has records of water usage. Water usage correlates with population, which correlates with toilets flushing into septic systems. Perhaps that would correlate better with what we've seen. And of course, if they could document exactly when the incidents of the failing septic systems occurred, and if they could correlate that with the spikes, then we would know if that's the causation. Now, that would solve one set of objections. Now, there are other objections as well. And
Jim, just to clarify though, this is what we're voting or what we're discussing and may have a motion on is whether or not we're going to do another E. coli study or another study.
Yeah, or how we as a council
versus
see
getting
fit
into
to
all of this
proceed.
minutia,
Yeah.
right?
And what I distributed was just an opening suggestion, because here's the big problem, and I don't have the details on this, is that the $5 million that we have needs to be spent. I think this year is the end of it. I don't know. I think we would all benefit from knowing exactly how that worked better. But if it is tough, if it is this year, there's a lot of stuff that has to be done before we can even get started. We don't have a site for it. We don't own the site. There's contracting. There's a preliminary engineering design, which I think needs to be reformed or looked at. And there's just an awful lot of stuff that needs to be done in a short period of time. And to lose $5 million at a time when federal grant money at least is being, rescinded on a regular basis. I'm not sure this money is going to be there in the future. I'm not worried about the state, the GIFA money, but the $2 million that makes this whole thing feasible at no cost to us. Sky Valley is a trust, and it's a great place, and we need to pass it down to the next generation. And that's my concern.
Clarify what this agenda item is addressing, because before I form my comments, what is it that was the purpose of putting this on the agenda? What are you getting at?
We need to do this in a workshop. We can schedule a workshop. What's Doug, 7 days out?
Doug's gone.
Doug is gone.
What are the real problems? Is it that we don't want development?
So are you asking for a work session?
I'm asking
I think
for
what Jim's trying to
input
say
and
is if we're gonna
direction.
Do something, we need to do something.
I agree.
And if we're not, we need to say that.
I agree entirely.
Okay.
So the work session is on the table, but
I agree entirely. I disagree with your comments. There are 7,000 geese that are defecating inside the water, and we've seen more geese than ever. So I disagree with you about the wildlife, and you didn't mention geese at all. And geese is, I won't even play golf on the 18th and 8th hole anymore because of the geese. But they defecate every 5 to 12 minutes. So I don't want to. We had this conversation earlier.
Yeah.
So I am happy to have a conversation. I agree with you, Councilor Allred. I've encouraged the mayor to make statements about this and to have conversations about this. This is the campaign was all about this. We definitely need to do it. Also, that federal money, that program was discontinued already. So that $3 million is Jason's word on life support that was awarded to us 5 years ago because we weren't ready for it and we accepted it. That program no longer exists, which is why they were like, are you gonna spend it?
ARC or the GIFA?
The GIFA money.
I'm sorry. All right, do we have a motion on the floor?
No.
Would somebody like to propose a motion?
I will make a motion that we have a work session to hash out more details and provide a clarified opinion or a pathway to resolution to provide to the public.
Was that within the next 2 weeks?
No.
I'm out of town until the 29th,
We
so.
gave those dates to Benita. So I think it's
Just
late.
so you know that we have a work session scheduled in March, and my understanding is, well, not exactly
I was gonna
scheduled,
say.
not exactly scheduled. I have sent, I have asked everybody for dates, in March, and I've sent those to Jason, so I've given him,
Is that a planning retreat or a work session?
it's a work session.
Okay, so we're not doing the planning retreat?
I don't have a planning retreat on my
Well, that's
schedule.
what Jason called it in March. So I'm just trying to understand what we're doing here.
It is a work session,
Open to everyone.
open to everybody.
Well, everything's open to everybody,
Yes.
but
At the work session.
what's the difference, Jason?
The planning retreat is more 10,000 foot elevated. We talk about, that would be when we would historically come up before you all with the, for example, the paving projects, et cetera. It can be handled through a work session, but typically the planning where a work session may be an hour long or so forth. You're talking about just a specific thing. The planning retreat that we've talked about, you're talking about code enforcement, finance. I mean, it kind of covers, it's usually like an all-day event.
And that's what you were historically have
Yeah,
scheduled
I
in
mean,
March.
when I talk about, yeah, that was what I was thinking we were talking about, but certainly it could be it's almost interchangeable terminology, but the work session, you can call it a work session, we just call it a planning retreat, because typically where the work session is kind of, you're handling something more immediate. The planning retreat is where you're kind of planning out.
And there's a difference in the length. The planning
Yeah.
retreat is like sessions in the morning, lunch, and then sessions in the afternoon.
Exactly.
And then the work
these
session
are
would be
typically
specific
things, yeah.
to this topic.
Typically with a planning retreat, is things that you will see again. For a work session typically is right before a council meeting. You're talking about something, but the planning retreat is more, again, we may be talking about roads, but then again, you will see that again at a future meeting. But it may not be the next meeting.
So my motion stands. Thank you, Jason, for the clarification. My motion stands, but I don't want to put a 2-week date on it.
Okay.
My motion stands that we have a work session specifically for this topic in the next 30 days.
We have a motion on the floor. Let me clarify. Councilman Curtis, you did not propose a motion, or is that motion off the table?
No, because it.
No, all right.
I think I proposed a motion that we have a workshop.
Okay.
Well, no.
Okay,
God love you, Karen Fleming.
I think there was an agenda item that was open, and we opened it
All right.
without a motion.
There is a motion that we have a workshop session in the next 30 days to deal with the septic to sewer project and all its ramifications
Only.
only.
I second that motion. Is that what you made?
Yes, I made the motion. You second the
All
motion.
right. Any
Discussion.
discussion?
We'll save that for the
Yes.
workshop.
Michelle, that motion is very broad, what you just said, to discuss the sewer, the septic project.
Septic
When
to
your issue was
E. coli study. Well, that's, maybe you need to narrow your motion down, that's what.
I appreciate the suggestion. I'm gonna leave my motion as it stands because I think it is a broad topic and it needs to be addressed. And I think there's a lot of people looking for a lot of answers that I really would love to give you. So I'm gonna keep it broad so that we can stay for hours. to talk.
You're all welcome to attend.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. Do we have any discussion from the council?
Just by way of explanation to Michelle, there's a lot of different opinions as to how this ought to go. And we can start all over, or we can, figure out how to go forward.
All right, so, do we have let me call the vote, I'm sorry. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Hallelujah. That's your first 5-0 vote right there.
So we will ask Jason to check schedule so that we can schedule that workshop session. Number 13, which was the vote on the mayoral committee, the mayoral committees has been taken, so there is no need to tackle that again. So we will move on to the public forum and comments if there's anybody who has anything else to say. And let me remind you, and the city attorney has left already. He gave up. But I discussed with him this morning that there is no need to share your address with folks here. If we know that you are a Sky Valley resident, that's all you need to say. And even if you're not, you're welcome to speak at public opinion. There's a serious and real concern from people who speak on any issue that they could be harassed, they could be doxxed, as the term is. So I will talk to the city clerk about getting a sign-up sheet so that we can use that as going forward for people who wish to comment. But in the meantime, please know that as you come up here, there is no need to state your address for the record and for posterity on Zoom. So thank you. Public comment is now open, and if you wish to say anything, and you are restricted to 5 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah.
The folks on Zoom will not be able to hear you. That's.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hi, this is Gail Greenfelder, and I have a comment.
Thank you, Gail. As soon as our speaker is done, we will we'll line you up. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Al Poinkowski. As I was listening to the discussion relative to the culvert, I never saw anything in the agenda packet with a request for proposals. It was never mentioned here today. Yet the council is dealing with the bids that two companies put in without knowing what the city asked for. It's, to me, you're missing something there. It doesn't make sense. And the city residents are missing things too, because they don't know what the city manager or the council is asking for. Not this council, because that happened before. City manager also claimed that this is a replacement and we don't need an engineer. Yet he failed to provide any state, county, or local law or ordinance that supported that. And nobody seemed to care about that. We have a counselor that says that critical culvert yay votes without having more information as to whether we need an engineer. We have people from the city saying, I think, I believe, and they have no expertise. And we're supposed to say that marketing is more critical than having an engineer for a road that's being undercut by the culvert being in need of repair. Doesn't add up to me, doesn't make sense. That without more information, we're making a decision that affects the safety of everybody who lives in Sky Valley and every visitor that comes here. And I disagree that marketing is such a specialized event that people, that we aren't smart enough to deal with marketing because we have to go outside. But with nobody having engineering background, we're smart enough to decide, well, we can replace and culvert and everything's good. I just disagree with that.
Madam Mayor.
And I'm not sure
I've got it.
why we're doing things without more information. And I'm not sure why we're not asking for more information.
I would just like to thank Jerry and Cody for giving us that information and providing expertise, and for the firms that provided us information ahead of time for their expertise.
Zoom, no comments?
Gail.
Gail.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Gail, go ahead.
I think you can unmute.
Here's another question.
Hello?
There you are.
Hello.
Thank you, Gail. Good to hear your voice. Would you like to make your comment?
Yes, and actually the previous gentleman tried to steal my thunder. I think Counselor Price mentioned something about engineering, and I guess I would defer to the council, but if we have public roadways and we even replace a culvert or do anything with the roadway and we do not have engineering and it should collapse during a flood or, whatever the 100-year, oh my goodness, this happened, the city is really opening itself up to liability. And I have to say that I, again, stole my thunder, but that we have a Chamber of Commerce in the area in Rabun County. I really haven't, I love Gordon Brand and all the things that committee's done, but I think for 1,000 people that a marketing committee is overkill, and especially for the city to be contributing $5,000. And again, when we don't have the money to hire an engineer, I think that is a tremendous oversight. And I think we're opening ourselves up to liability. We need engineering on culverts, roadways. If you're talking about a walking path, if something happens and it collapses and somebody falls in the creek, anyway, you get my drift.
Thank you, Gail. So there's, Rudy Mossy, I understand you have a.
Yes, I'd just like to make a comment. And I probably should have done it earlier. First of all, I like that you're now looking at having the comments and hearing from the public before you vote on something. I hope that passes, and that's a good thing. Secondly, I'd like to say that one of the council members said, well, it's kind of hard to measure the effectiveness of the marketing committee. Well, I know as a businessman, I had a mission statement, I had goals, and I could, with results. The goals that I had were achievable but stretch. And I had people working for me They knew what their mission was, they knew what their goal was, and it was straightforward. And you could measure the results. The results weren't there. We went in a different direction. And I just think insanity, which you heard, is doing the same thing over and over again, and expecting a different result. I don't know if the club got out of it, and the club was the big beneficiary of our marketing. I don't know why we're spending this kind of money on marketing when we have so many other needs in the community on infrastructure. I did a search on AI because I said, what is more beneficial on Sky Valley, spending the money on marketing or on infrastructure? And it gives you a whole different analysis than what Gordon shared with us on the floor. And it says there should be a blend, but you really need to look at your infrastructure and how much money you're raising. You've already voted, it's done, but I would hope that this year's committee come up with goals that are realistic, that are measurable, that when you vote again next year, you can determine, are we getting value for our money? That's all I have to say. Thank you. And congratulations to all the new officers, council people.
Thank you, Rudy, and thank you for agreeing to serve on the City of Sky Valley Advisory Committee. Question? We have a question.
May I make a comment to Rudy?
Brief.
Very
Thank
brief.
you.
Rudy, we collect $67,000 last year from our hotel motel tax. This is sort of like SPLOST money. It's restricted in how we can use it. A proportion of that is typically going to Raven Forward. $5,000 out of that $67,000, it has to be spent on tourism development, marketing, and that sort of thing. So
thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, Jim. Then make it a goal and share it with us next year for the results. Thank you.
Thank you. There is a question. I don't know who that is from. Can you tell? Trudy. Trudy would like to know, what is the status of the 2 grants?
The $3 million GIFA grant is still an active grant. That grant was actually awarded in 2021. So we're going on 5 years with that. From speaking with Mr. Hood, the engineer EMI, it's been pretty much an understanding, I guess, since probably the last 12 months, that the money doesn't have to be spent by 2026, but we have to get the process started by 2026. So that is still a valid grant. The $2 million grant, I believe that there were some signatures that I believe Mayor Cottonwood has signed. That grant has not been awarded yet, but it's my understanding that all of the requirements have been satisfied. So I suspect something will be forthcoming very soon. Some of the delay with that was there was a couple of things that need to be signed, and the outgoing mayor deferred that to the incoming mayor, which they're just been sworn in. And if you know about the federal government, they kind of work at a different pace. So, but I can say that those wheels are still in motion, and that we do expect something very soon from them coming forward. So both of those grants are still valid. One's kind of, as one hand washes the other, but the other kind of continues upon each other. But certainly, as I've stated since day one, once we get some kind of definitive answer, we'll make sure that's put out for voting.
Thank you. I believe that is the end of public comment. Let me ask the city manager, do you believe that we need to move to number 12? Executive session?
At this time, no, matter, I don't believe there's anything that needs to be taken into discussion.
Well, thank you. I would, in that case, ask for a motion to adjourn.
I motion we adjourn.
A second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We're gonna have to get out of